Hi everyone. Hey, it's Esther L. Jones, the Merry Heartist here, and I am just popping in to let you know that this was a live that I did on Facebook last Sunday afternoon. I'm trying to do some Facebook Lives on Sunday afternoons, so try to come join me. It's going to be pretty random. I might be painting, I might be talking about art, I might be just telling you what's going on in my life. We might have a discussion about things. Anyway, I'm inviting you there, but I wanted to tell you that I finished the painting, and if you watch all the way through the live, then you'll also see the end, the painting at the end, and I video that so that you can get a real close-up of what's going on there. In the video, I talk about simultaneous contrast, which is when you put dark colors next to light colors and when you put warm colors next to cool colors. And also talk about, what else did I talk about? I'm thinking, talked about warm and cool. That's what we did. We talked about color temperature and how it can help your flowers grow. So I'm uploading this to to YouTube, and hope you'll like and share it and follow me on my social media. Those links are in the description and also at the end. Good Sunday afternoon, everyone. I hope you are having a relaxing and merry one. Well, it's time for our Merry Sunday Live with Esther, and we are going to paint today. I did ask for opinions and requests this afternoon for what I should paint, and I had one reader who asked how I got my cactus flowers to be so glowing. So I thought I would share that. It's pretty simple. It's a combination of simultaneous contrast and color temperature. I'm going to share that with you in a few minutes. If you're wondering what flowers I'm talking about, you can go to my website, www.estherjones.com, and you'll be able to find that post and go to that. The title of the piece is called Cactus Dream, so you could find that. There's also another place you might be able to find it faster and not have to scroll so much, and that is EstherLJonesOnlineGallery.com. If you go there, you'll be able to scroll and see that Cactus Dream painting sooner. So anyway, so let's get started. I want to just encourage you, go ahead and comment any questions that you have. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the camera, and I will make sure that you get the answers to your questions if you're watching. If you're watching this on the replay, still ask the questions. I'll be glad to come on and type an answer. So let's begin. I have my paper here. This happens to be a new product. It's a new product by Colorfix called Colorfix Rough Paper, and it cleared. It doesn't come in any other colors at this time. Art Spectrum puts it out, and I picked it up at IAPS. And I've tried it a couple times. It's pretty rough. I like rough stuff. So, and I thought it would be a great one to start with for this demo. It will take a wet underpainting, so we're going to give it a wet underpainting here in a little bit. I don't have a copy of the reference photo. It is another cactus photo that I took at the same time that I took the one for Cactus Dream. But I do have my sketches. All right, this is just my value sketch, or my what are the 4 or 5 values that I can break that down into. What are the 4 or 5 shapes? Are they interesting? And then here is kind of a searching sketch. It's not a lot of detail, but it tells me what I need to know. Are the flowers in a pleasing order? that will lead your eye through the painting. And I even moved a couple of flowers so that they would be more pleasing. And is the composition going to be good? And where is my star? If I get up close, you might be able to see that I have a little X right there on that flower. That is going to be the star flower. The sun is going to be picking that one out. Now that doesn't mean that the others won't show up, but that one's going to be the brightest and the most glowy. All right, so we're going to get started by first just drawing in the general outline that you saw on that value scale. Then I'm going to put in some pretty loose shapes for the cactus flowers and the cacti, and then we're going to underpaint it, and I'll show you what I'm going to do for that. So let me grab a pencil for sketching in. Okay, I'm going to use a red pastel pencil. I usually do use a pastel pencil, and sometimes I'll like make it really where only I can see it, because that way it'll disappear. But for you guys, I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So I have my value sketch right here. Let me see if I can put it up where we can all kind of see it. Will it hang right there, maybe? Next time I need to think about that, huh? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to start with the general. I want this. This is actually the mountain in Albuquerque, which it may or may not look like the mountain in Albuquerque. To those of you who are familiar with it, I don't know. And there's a line of trees that kind of, and then it gets closer, so they get bigger. All right, and then like this is kind of like the horizon, the lower horizon. We'll be using that, but then the area that's got the cactus in it kind of goes like that. There's a big cactus that's super light right there. We'll be adding in, and then is that low enough? Yeah. There we go. Okay, so those are our four or five value shapes. This is the lightest. Okay, the sky. Can you see that? Do I need to bring you in closer? Maybe so. All right, this is the sky area. It's going to be the lightest. The next lightest is going to be this distant mountain. These trees back here are an upright plane, so they're going to be a little bit darker. This ground area is a little bit darker than the mountain and a lot darker than the sky, but still a mid value. Then this is the darkest area. You will see some light shapes in it, but it's the darkest area. And then this area down here is, most of it is in shadow because the sun is coming kind of from this area and back. It was actually kind of a overcast day. So this area, and I don't know if you can see that, but this area is the shadows coming this way. So it'll be the next to darkest. All right, it'll be about the same value as these trees back here, and then there's a little bit of light coming through the cacti over here, so we'll catch that. All right, I got to move the camera back a little bit so I can actually work here. I need a camera person. Anybody want to volunteer to be my camera person? All right, So I want to put some big shapes for my flowers in. I know that right down here I have a big clump of flowers that kind of goes like that. And then I have a flower here. I have a flower here. Maybe not quite that big, but I want to leave plenty of room for it. I want to leave plenty of room for all of this. Here's our star flower right here. It could be kind of big. And another flower about right here. Another one right up here. Another one that's kind of going to be a bit of a star right up here. It's just taller than all the others. Then there's some over here. There's another one over here. And I'm making up a couple that are down here. Now, there's some red right in here. We'll deal with that later, so it's not completely empty in there. Those are our flower shapes, and we're going to avoid them, or actually we're going to make them a certain color whenever we do our underpainting. All right. We are going to make them a certain color in our underpainting. All right, for my underpainting, I've chosen some Inkten sticks. And let's see if I can put them up there a little bit better. I have this deep brown that's going to go in the super darkest spots. And I'm going to join that in with some blue and violet to kind of make that darkness more exciting. And then our cacti are going to be these colors, and we're also going to use these colors in lighter values for the sky, the mountain, and the ground and stuff. And then I've got this red art graph, Taylor's block, that's also kind of an ink. It's graphite, but it's an ink. And we'll just work all those in. So let's get started. I have all this area in here is pretty dark. And I definitely want to cover up this paper. It is completely white, and so I'm going to have trouble covering that since it is a rough paper. So I'm going to be sure to, that's one of the reasons I chose a wet underpainting for this, so I can cover all of that white. Notice that I'm leaving the red bits clear. I'm going to use my red art graph to go ahead and put those in. It doesn't matter that they are not quite the right color because we're going to combine a lot of different colors to get that glow. But we do not want it to be, what's under there to be brown if we can help it, because then we'll be fighting against it. I love both of these products, the art graph and the Inkten sticks. They really give you quite a bit of pigment. All right, I'm going to go back over the brown with some of this violet. Violet is the friend of green, and we're going to have a lot of green. And then some blue. because our cacti, a lot of our cacti have blue tints in it. So we're going to add some blue. You're going to be really surprised at how dense this cover is going to be. I'm going to put a little blue up here because there's a cactus right up there. All right, very lightly, I'm going to touch these back trees with some of this blue. It's going to go a long way, so I'm not going to do a lot. Very lightly, I'm going to touch this down here with some of our brown. We'll just spread that around with our alcohol in a minute. And we're also going to add some of this slightly turquoisey green. There are pebbles in the original photo, so I think that'll be good. And then this back here is also a light color in the sky. I think we're going to do a little bit of this. Let's see. Let's put a little of this in our mountain. We'll have to cool it off more. And then barely touch it with that for our sky. Barely touch it with the blue for our sky. And we are ready to go in with our brushes. All right, I have a big brush. It's about 1.5 inches just from the hardware store. And then I have one that's about 1 inch. And you want to use the biggest brushes you can because that's going to keep you loose, okay? It's going to keep your underpainting loose, and if your underpainting's loose, then you're going to be likely to do looser painting yourself. So, all right, let's get started. I could use either water or alcohol. For this, I'm going to use alcohol so it'll dry really fast and we don't have to just sit here and wait for it to dry. It's pretty warm in here, so it should go quickly. I want to start with the lighter areas, so let's start right up here in the sky. Someone commented today that one of the reasons people might not comment what they would like to see on one of my lives is because they might not be able to commit to being there for the live. But you know what? That you don't have to worry about that because really you can always catch the live on replay. So if you don't catch it, and I don't know about you, but there's quite often whenever I would like to see a live and I don't get the notification, so then I'm forced to watch it on replay whether I wanted to or not. All right, so I want you to feel free to comment and tell me what you'd like to see. That really helps me out so that I can help you guys out. I can let you have the information and the input that you need, not just something that I come up with. So I really appreciate your input. I'm going to come down here. This is a little bit lighter. And I want some texture down here because this is pebbles and stuff. So not only am I going to use my brush to give it kind of a pebbly texture, but I'm also at the end I'm going to give it a little bit of a spritz with my bottle, and that is going to give us a real pebbly texture. All right, I'm going to do my red flowers first, and then we'll do the lights. This just gives me an area to work in, okay? I don't care about the shape right now. It's just not important. I'm going to do that with my pastels. I want to know where they are. Here's my star right here. I might get a little bit more detailed with that just to give me inspiration for later on. All right, here's some. No questions yet. Anybody watching out there? Let me know if you're watching. And if you're not, that's okay too. If you're watching on the replay, you can let me know that too. Okay, I need to make sure I put some red in there. I'm continuing to look at my composition to make sure it's going to be pleasing. Okay, and now we're going to go back in there with the super darks here. Try not to let it get into my flowers, but if it does, it's no big deal. I know that's going to be shadowy. I know I'm going to be I'm going to have some shadows in this area, so it's okay to pull this down. You see how I'm using my underpainting to help myself? That's what underpaintings are for. They're to help lessen the work and to help inspire you. I think beginners, even I as a beginner, got kind of weirded out and over anxious about underpaintings. What was an underpainting? How do you do it? Why do you do it? And then, oh my goodness, what colors am I going to use? Please don't let underpaintings become an issue. They are the perfect place to experiment. The perfect place to experiment. Because it's just an underpainting. And you can cover it back up. I want that white out of the way. Okay, I think let's have a little bit more here. I want to make sure, I'm looking around to make sure I don't have any pure white still showing. I might have a few little sparkles. I don't mind a few, but I don't want a whole lot. Sometimes I do, and it just kind of depends. You know what? I want some shadows in these trees, so I'm going to take my brush, which has a lot of dark color on it, and I'm going to use that to darken up the horizon line of these trees a little bit. Just a little. They're very far in the distance, so I don't want them to get too dark. Okay. All right. Now, this is going to dry pretty fast because I used alcohol. This is a little spray bottle I got at, like, H-E-B, the grocery store or something, and I just put my alcohol in it. I use a 90% because it dries really fast, and that's the only reason I use it. So, if you can get the 90%, fine. If you can't, the 70% will do just as well. Or even I've heard of people using 50%. So it just means whenever they have less percentage, it just means it has less alcohol and more water in it. So it's okay. All right. Let's let it dry. It won't take but a minute. This is a perfect time for you to ask questions if you're watching. All right. So, let's see. Oh, the sky is practically dry, so we're going to go in. My palette, I'm going to try to hold it up for you, is actually, I had this one out for another painting I was working on, and I looked at it, it had all the colors in it that I wanted anyway. So I just picked it up and added a few more warm reds to it and some cool reds to it, and you can see it's pretty full. There's a lot of colors in there. Don't usually start with that many colors. But like I said, I had been using this before and knew it would work well for this. So let's go in. The sky was pretty hazy. I'm not married to that, but let's give a little sky color here. Oh, and I've got the perfect color for that mountain back there. Let's start this with the sky. Yeah. You want to put your sky is a little darker at the top, and it gets lighter toward the, and warmer. It gets lighter and warmer as it goes towards the horizon. So I need to remember my mountain is there. All right, we want to get this all done really quickly because we want to go right to our flowers. I really want to explain to you about simultaneous contrast and how the color temperature can be can make the flowers glow. So I'm going to zoom right through this. Let's see if that's going to be. Let's see if that works for my distant mount. Whoops, that's too dark. Too dark, too dark. I think that's going to be too light. Let me go over here and grab a different blue. Oh, yes, come here, little blue. I want a blue. Okay, we're going to try this one. Yeah, that's better. This is going to be my distant mountain. And I may have to lighten it up later, but that's okay. If I do. All right. These distant trees are a very light gray green, so let's go in with that. See how my underpainting's already helping me? It's already darker down at the bottom there. Hi, Heidi. I see you are watching. These trees right here are a little bit closer. That's why they're so much bigger. There we go. Okay, starting to come in. And then this ground, we've already discussed that this ground is pretty light, but it's receding into the distance. So I'm going to use this color. You know how everything, when you have a bright cloudy day, everything can be kind of bright but dull. So that's what that was. All right. Super. This needs to actually go down a little bit. Yeah. I'm just checking every so often if there's any questions. Oh yeah, okay. I like this color. I'm going to put it in the tops of these trees back here. And then we're going to get started on our flowers. I will not finish this painting today. I don't have time for that. I've got a reunion I'm going to after a while of some co-workers that we no longer work together. So I'm looking forward to that. And I've got to go to that. So I won't finish this, but I want to show you these flowers. All right. So we know with pastels, we always put in our darks first. So I'm going to look very carefully at where I put the detail into my drawing up here. And I'm going to start putting the shadows of my flowers in. Notice I have this super rich, warm, sort of a red. It's very rich and it's rather dark. And I want that. That's what I want. This flower's going up. This flower is going up. And this one is our star. So I'm going to be a little bit more detailed on that one. This one's a little farther away and that one is too. So I'm going to be very careful about my darks. I'm going to take my dark up in value, maybe 1 degree, so that they're not too dark. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is choose like a couple of levels up of a red. Maybe this, okay? And I want to be careful because some of these are in shadow, like this one right here is in shadow. The backs of these are in shadow. So I want to be careful not to use all the same colors on everything. And notice that I'm not worrying about, I'm worrying about the direction the flower is pointing. So some of my flowers are pointing out kind of towards the sun. Some of them are pointing this way. Some are straight up. Some are pointing this way. So I'm being careful about how I put my petals on to reflect that. For instance, this one's coming back this way. It's a little bit more towards the front. This one is more straight up. Okay. All right, here's our star. Okay. Let's see. This one can have a little of this. These are getting further in the distance, so I want to go even lighter with theirs. Maybe something like this. And duller. They don't need to be quite so bright. We want to let this one right here be the star. And I keep saying that because I'll forget it if I'm not careful. Hi, Carla. Okay. This is a perfect color to come back in for the upper leaves, petals of these flowers, and for the back petals of our star flowers. So let's just add that in. Now, what I want you to notice is what's happening to the glow. What's happening to the glow of the flowers? They're starting to really take on a glow. Why? Because I'm not just going lighter, I'm going warmer as well. That's so important. That's the part that I was talking about, that's color temperature. Color temperature matters. Let's see. This one's really tilted toward us, so he's actually taller. Let me think out loud for a minute here. And then I'm going to show you how simultaneous contrast is going to help us with that as well. Just detail those out. I don't want to get too much detail in my distant flowers, so I'm suggesting some detail back there. Okay. All right, we're starting to get the glow. I'm going to start concentrating on this one right here because it's our star flower. In the middle of this flower in the source photo, it is quite yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and put a dark yellow base in there, almost an orange. I'm trying to decide between orange and green, but I'm going to go orange. So that's going to help pick that out from the other flowers. All right. And now, again, I want to make this glow. So we think a lot of times about the light and the sun as being lighter and lighter and lighter, so that eventually you're at pink. But if you go that direction with these flowers, they're going to get really cool and flat. What you want to do instead of going lighter is you want to go warmer. So I'm going to, instead of going, let's see, this is the last red that we used, okay? So get that. And then instead of going to a lighter red, I'm actually going to go to a color that is the same value but is warmer. I'm going to go for this top one that's orange. And I'm going to add this in places where I feel like the sun would be kind of hitting. Remember, we have an overcast day, so we don't have a lot of bright, direct sun. You see how that's starting to really make that glow. And like I said, if I go lighter, I'm going to run into problems. But if I go warmer with the same value, then I'm going to get some glow. Only after I put all that in am I actually going to change color. I'm actually going to go for a really light orange, not a light red. That would be pink. What am I looking for here? Yeah, let's go for that. That's an orange. All right, and I'm not making the flower bigger. I'm just adding this in places. To bring in the glow. Okay, I don't want it to be too spotty, so I'm going to connect some of those. All right, now I'm going to give all the rest of these flowers that same treatment. Okay, it won't be exactly the same because I want this one to be my star. It's going to have the most detail. It's going to have the most range of colors. It's going to have all those things. But what I want to get to before I have to leave is what's called the simultaneous contrast. So there's two things that I did to get those glowy flowers over on my website on the cactus dream painting. And the first one was to go warmer, like we talked about, instead of cooler and lighter. And then the other one was simultaneous contrast. You're already seeing some of it. See how bright this looks next to this dark underpainting? If that underpainting was more one of these colors, this wouldn't look so glowy. All right? But with that dark underpainting, you have what's called simultaneous contrast. The darker something, if you put something dark next to something light, then the dark's going to look darker and the light's going to look lighter. So I want to maintain, because this is my star flower, I want to maintain that darkness, that shadow around it. So I'm going to go in with another dark pastel. This is a very neutral dark. Not sure exactly what color, maybe a bluish. And I'm going to check my drawing. That flower is on, okay, it's on a piece of cactus that goes like that. So I need to make my shape of my cactus there. All right, now I want to be careful as I suggest the color of that cactus that I don't go too much lighter, because if I do, I'm going to miss this glow. I'm going to lessen it. So I'm looking for a dark kind of bluish green. Cactus are hardly ever like a yellow green. And it's darker down here toward the bottom because of the shadow, the way that flower itself is keeping the sun from making the cactus. There, we'll give it a little bit of definition there just to point to my flower. Now that's another thing that you can do to help your composition and lead the eye. Notice that that line, I don't know if you can even see that, but I put a very, very subtle line with that same color to detail the edge of my cactus. What do you call those? Leaf? It doesn't seem like a leaf to me. I bet there's another name. But I put that subtle line. It looks like I put it there to show you that that's a cactus leaf, but it also points your eye right toward my star flower. Guess what? I'm going to do the same thing right here. And the top of this cactus is going to be brighter anyway because it's closer to the top. So now I've already started to establish the form of the, that word. What is it? Somebody look that up. What is a leaf of cactus called? There's a word for it. All right, so now you can see I didn't play too much with the value. I kept it this part of the cactus really dark so that my star flower is glowing. All right, now there's some other cactus leaves around it. There's one in front of it that's a little bit brighter. All right, and there's the top of one here. I'm looking at my original drawing. Anybody gonna go look that up? What is the paddle of a cactus called? What's the proper name for it? There's a big bright one back here. It's behind this other flower. I don't know that it's that big. I might have to. Oh, one of the wonderful things about pastels is that you can brush it off. It's one of my favorite erasing tools. It's just a really cheap half-inch plastic sort of, see all the pastel that came off of that? Brush. I wouldn't hardly use it for anything else, but it's perfect for taking off pastel that I didn't. It's not working so great on this rough paper. That's okay. Pastel is cool. You can go over it. So there's that one. I know that. All right, so to demonstrate what I mean about how this dark brings this light out, that simultaneous contrast, I'm going to go ahead and add some warmer stuff to this flower. And notice that this color is so much lighter. Is this one going to show up? Is it going to glow as much? I don't want it to because it's not my star and it's further in the distance. But if I add that glowy stuff, does it glow as much? It doesn't. Because I'm going to go lighter because it's in the distance. I like that. Okay, and I want just a little bit of warmth. Oh, I have too many choices. Too many choices. I see. I want this. Okay, see how that brought that too far forward? I'm going to have to go back in with something to dull it down. Because it's in the distance. I don't want to bring it forward. Okay, so that's helpful. All right, do you see, this one still glows, but it just doesn't have the glow of my star, and that's the way I want it. It just doesn't have the glow of my star, and that's the way I want it. So, simultaneous contrast and warmer colors instead of cooler colors to bring in the light, okay? Instead of cooler, lighter colors, warmer mid-value colors will add the glow. And all the rest of these are going to get that same treatment. And then I will add in the cactus, and I will post the finished piece whenever I have done with it. Let's see, things that are going on in my life this week. School begins for teachers. We will be starting our in-service tomorrow, so Sunday afternoons is it, folks. I'm going to be busy the rest of the time. If you are interested in music lessons and you're local to me, I might have a few spots open. I've already got some of them claimed, but I might have a few spots open. What else is going on? That's it. School starting. That means that I will be super busy. And when I'm not busy, I'll be tired. So I paint early in the mornings for that reason. All right. So again, if you want to see the painting that was referenced for this, the person who asked for how did I get those flowers so glowy, you'll need to go to my website, or you can go to EstherLJonesOnlineGallery.com, and you can scroll through and find Cactus Dream is the title of the painting. I hope you enjoyed this live, and I hope you visit back next week. And make sure you're following my page, because I'm going to try to do this every Sunday. All right? Okay, we'll see y'all later. All right, I promised last Sunday afternoon that I would show the finish of the painting, so I wanted to just video it so that you could get some close-ups, and then I'll show you just a shot of it, a still shot. But there's my beautiful flowers. Notice how little detail has to be added to suggest to your mind what that is. Look, those are just blobs, but when I back off, you know they're cactus flowers. Isn't that fun? It's just magical. I just love that part of this. All right. Thank you for watching, and I would appreciate it so much if you would like and share, and if you would follow me on my social media, which is at EstherLJones.com on Instagram, EstherLJones.com on Facebook, and www.EstherLJones.com on my website.